Hey y'all, I'm back. And better yet, I'm in a different spot. I twisted my hair yesterday and, I was looking to save a couple of coins. And I've done hair before, so I figured, okay, you can do this. How hard can it be? As y'all know, I just started locking my hair about a month and a half ago. And the dreads are in the struggle phase right now, even though I was already natural for almost 4 years, or was it 3? Somewhere around that time. Um, I am not crazy about it. So I had it out all day today, but I figured for now I'm gonna put this on. Makes me look a little bit more presentable. Um, and yeah, I'm not saying I'm not proud of it. I am, and I understand that hair journeys take a lot of different forms. So that's cool, I guess. But right now, I'm in the phase of yes, you saved some dollars, but did I do it correctly? I don't know. But that's for another video. Anyways, I just had a talk with a really awesome spiritual, just, I don't know, empowering friend of mine. She's been someone who I've been close to for my time here in Charlotte, honestly. And she's one of those people who's seen me through a lot of growth and heartbreak and just a lot of things. And she recently just moved out to California, and I am so happy for her and just a little bit jealous, because my dream is to one day live out in California. But everything has a time and a place. So, anyways, I just finished talking with her, and she inspired me to bring up a topic with you guys, and that's friendships. And I think friendships mean so many different things. And, I personally have had my fair share. As an athlete, you kind of, especially as a high level athlete, you're constantly surrounded by teammates. And, some of those teammates are friends, some of them, are teammates, and that's okay. You don't have to be biffles with everyone that you play with. But you do have to have a level of respect for everyone, and I think that's important, no matter what. But now, to be in a phase of my life where my circle has gotten a lot smaller. And, I don't know if I should say my circle has gotten smaller or if I've just realized who was actually in my circle. I think I am a very likable person. I connect with people. That's why I'm doing this. But at the end of the day, who was there for me when I need to call on them? And for a long time, I thought that it was so many other people, but I now realize that you hit different points in life where things just start clicking, and all things your mom used to say to you or you used to hear Oprah talk about or whatever start to make sense. And so something that Shannon and I talked about is, how you get to a point in life where you realize that people are not giving you what you need. Or they're not giving you, or they're not giving you nearly half of what you're giving them. So for me, I came to a point of acceptance of, what? I am one hell of a friend. Okay, you hear me? Like, I am there. If you are someone who I consider to be my friend, I got you. I mean, I've driven from DC to New York to support somebody because, I felt like they just needed me there. They didn't ask for it. They didn't, do anything outright that said, Nikia, come here. But I said, you know what? I think to support them, I'm going to do this. And so I did that. I have left interviews. I've done all sorts of things. Some people may call that crazy and maybe not a friend, but whatever. But at the end of the day, I've given money, I've given time, I've given of myself. I will give you my last if you are someone who I hold close. And if I hold you close, I'm going to hold you down as best as I can. No matter what you do, I'm consistently trying. And so then I sat back one day and I said, well, how many people do that for me? How many people can I say would give me their last if I needed it? If I didn't have a pot to piss in, they would say, Nakia, here's my last pot I have at home, but I'm going to give that to you. Y'all, please hold on. My dog is bothering my cat. Ruby, go place. Ruby. Thank you. Sorry, y'all. This is Ruby. Ma'am, go place. Thank you. And this is Sal. Sal, don't be rude. Okay. Well, sorry for that. But, you just realize that not a lot of people do that. And so I think when we're younger, it's acceptable. We just say, oh, okay, well, we make up all these excuses. And we don't realize they're excuses at the time, but they are. We say, oh, well, they're busy. Oh, well, well, they did do this and they did do that. But at the end of the day, what they are doing, if it's not enough for you, it's not enough, period. And so, I realized that, there's also a huge difference between your acquaintances and your friends. And, while I believe I have a lot of acquaintances and I have no problem with them, I would still jump through hoops for any of them. If they call on me, I'm going to do whatever I can to help. But they are that, if I'm in my time of need, do I call them? I don't. When things are great and I want to have a great time, do I call them? Sure. Oh yeah, definitely. But life isn't always great. And so, there also is that point of acceptance of, yes, okay, my circle is smaller, but you know what? I'd rather have a circle of 2 and a strong circle than a broken circle of 50. And, again, I'm not super big on biblical references or anything like that, but I know I've heard that somewhere. And so maybe somebody can tell me and enlighten me to that. But I think, coming to that point of acceptance is so huge. And, for me, I'm 25, soon to be 26 in 20 days, as my girlfriend has reminded me and will remind me daily until the day is here. But, at times I feel like I am a 30-year-old woman just because of how, I operate and how I think. I am not focused on going out anymore and spending crazy types of money out on bars and eating out all the time or getting my nails done, getting my hair done, getting my feet done. Like, I don't. But my priority now is making sure I keep this roof over my head, my family's head, and right now my family consists of my girlfriend and my animals. And some people my age understand that and some people don't. To me, my priorities right now are also, okay, well, who checks in on me? How many people, if they don't hear from me for a couple of weeks, will say, hey girl, where you been? What you doing? I miss you. How are things going? And people don't understand how powerful that is, because I know many of people who have been in holes of depression and nobody knew. They suffered in silence. But because myself or somebody else just reached out and said, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Like, is everything cool? Like, hey, do you want to go get something to eat? It doesn't mean now they're best friends, but that level of concern for another person makes a difference for that person to know that somebody cared enough to notice, one, that they weren't there, but to two, then reach out. Because I've heard so many people say, oh, well, yeah, I've thought about you. Oh, you did? So you couldn't pick up the phone? Hell, you couldn't even send a Facebook message to ask. People don't think about that because we all get so busy in our own lives that we don't think about that with others. And so, there also came that time of realizing, like, you have to value yourself. So in every relationship, right, whether it be romantic or, your general friendships or coworkers, everything requires your time. And so there comes a point where you realize, okay, like, I've given too much of me, my time, my love, my mind, me, my space. What I fill up is valuable. And to put that into your presence is valuable. So if you don't give back to me, then I have to stop giving that to you. And it's not bad. It doesn't mean that that person is a bad person. It just means that they're not giving enough to you. And, that's I think coming to that point of acceptance also saves you from a lot of heartbreak. Because now when people bow out of your life, you don't take it personally. You don't say, oh, well, what did I do or why didn't that work out? You say, okay, I get it. And it stings. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it makes it easier because, I've also had that. I've had friends who I thought we were going to make it through everything. And this is as an adult. I don't really have very many, elementary school friends that, we still talk all the time. I see them on social media, but, we aren't close. But, as an adult, since my college days, I had some friends where I thought, okay, hey, we're going to stick this out. It's going to be everything. And then I realized it was time after time I made all the phone calls. Even as I moved around, I made all the phone calls. I made all the text messages. I made all the arrangements to do things and I said, and is that what friendships are? Because I said, if I'm not doing that for them, then why don't I have anybody doing that for me? But it was also because of what I accepted. And what we accept from people goes so far. And, that's something that we all have to think about. And we have to take responsibility in, just because we have people in our lives who aren't treating us correctly or, maybe not to the standard that we want, then we can go one of two ways with it. We say, okay, well, do I accept this and I can deal with it? Or do I not accept it and I need to let it go? And people tell us who they are all the time. All the time. They show us and they tell us exactly who they are and exactly what they'll do and they're capable of. But we oftentimes make up our own decisions or our own minds and say, well, maybe this or maybe that, or maybe it will change, or, all these other things. But by doing that, we're accepting what they're giving us. And so, again, sometimes you can feel like you're on that island by yourself. And listen, y'all, I've been there. I've been in those places where you literally feel like you are floating on a boat in the middle of the sea. You don't have any sharks swimming around you just yet, but you're by yourself because those people out there aren't giving you what you need. They're not feeding you, and you can't figure out why. And if you really sit back and look, it's a lot of times because of what you're accepting. And so if you want differently, then accept differently. It doesn't mean you have to change what you're giving out because no one's saying you're not giving out the right thing, but you just have to put your foot down and say, no, I don't accept this. And then once you tell them what you need, see what they do. Because I also have a friend like that now. We are the same person, y'all. You hear me? And she's a couple years younger than me, and we're the same person. And while we've butted heads all along the way because, she wasn't making time for me in the beginning. It was, and I think there was partial, fear of letting somebody else in and, wanting to be closed off. And I'm the kind of person look, if you're in my life, I ain't got time to be worried about secrets. Okay. There is no, well, I'm only going to tell this person some things. I don't blab my mouth. Okay. So either you trust me or you don't. There's no in the middle with me. And that's a lot of what we had. And so, I went to her and I said, look, if you want to be friends, then you've got to put in an effort. And it felt weird because I was like, I'm not dating this girl, but as her friend, this is what I need from her. And she changed it. And it wasn't overnight, but she changed it. She said, you know what? That's valid. And I can do that. And so it wasn't perfect. There were still times I had to remind her, okay, so what are we doing here? And now she is someone who I would call one of my best friends. She is one of my biggest support systems that I have because we took that time. And let me tell you, because the beginning wasn't easy. She'll tell you to this day that I didn't like her in the beginning and this and that, whatever, but it's one of those true friendships where we've developed together, and we've found the mold that works for our friendship. And I know her way better than she likes to admit, and she knows me way better than I like to admit, but it didn't happen overnight. And I told her point blank, I don't accept that. And so if we're going to even progress forward, then this is what has to change. And for that situation, it worked. And I haven't done that with a lot of people because I've also realized for the people I don't do it with, I don't think they're capable, and I don't value the friendship as much as I thought I did. And it's not a bad thing. I don't want you guys to think that means, oh, well, she just doesn't care about any of her friends. No, that's not it. But they just don't fill that space for me. And so therefore, I'm not going to overly invest my time in it. And I think that's a huge difference to understand. And, so So think about, whether you feel like you have thousands of friends, and I'm not talking about your Facebook friends because that's a whole other topic, y'all, okay, for another day. But of the friends you feel like you have today, how do you feel your friendships are? Do they fill everything that you need? Do you feel like it's 50-50? Do you feel like maybe it's 75-25? Do you think that you've invested a lot of yourself and you've been waiting for a return? And I'm not talking about people who, you maybe dated before or messed around with or, any of that stuff. I mean like true friendships where, it's just been a platonic sort of friendship. You know what I mean? It's just been like a, hey, do you want to go out to a movie? Someone that you can, maybe bare your soul to, or, people do that. And do they know you? Think about that. Like, because to me, a friendship means you are a person who I trust in my life and you know who I am. You know the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't have to pick what side I can show you on any given day. It means I have shown you everything. And I can tell y'all, I know so many people. I got plenty of Facebook friends. I got plenty of acquaintances. I meet all these people on the street, whatever. And I can tell you, I have four who have seen every part of me and all of my growth and still day in and day out show up for me and support me. And it's 50-50. Sometimes I have to be honest, I slack a little bit. As great of a friend as I feel like I am, sometimes I don't know if I support them enough emotionally. And again, it might sound weird because you're like, this is just a friendship. But again, y'all, a true friendship, it takes almost as much work as a relationship does. Because if you really want it to last, and go through your learning curve, just like you do a marriage or any sort of relationship, you have to invest the time. You have to work on it because you are going to change over time. And some people don't stay around and some people do. And if you feel like that person is worth staying around, then you have to work on it. You have to communicate those things. But if you don't, then that's your decision. But again, I had this conversation with Shannon and I was so just empowered by it. And, it started giving me all these flashbacks about, all of my friendships and the dynamics and friendships I've had over my life, and the things I've been through. And as time goes on, you guys will get to learn more about me, and I hope to learn more about you guys too and understand some of those other dynamics. But I think, that's friendships are definitely a big one because everyone's so focused on, I want to find the love of my life, or I don't want to find the love of my life, or I'm never going to find it, or I will find it. Who is it going to be? How long should I date? All these other things. But before we can have healthy relationships and marriages, we have to have healthy friendships and good ones, And so I hope all of you out there have awesome friends like that, and maybe some of them have been around for years, maybe some of them you just met and you instantly connected, but just really keep that in mind and evaluate them, and don't be afraid to speak up for yourself and value who you are and what you offer in every facet. We do that so often in our careers. We're so quick to say, well, I know, I want a salary of this much, so if they don't offer me that, I'm not taking the job. Well, why don't we do that with our friendships? If you go in saying, okay, well, I know what I'm putting on the table, so either you give me back this or I'm not taking it. There's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing to say that just because you feel like a solid friendship won't work out, acquaintanceships don't. Acquaintanceships, whatever you want to call it. But I think those are equally as important because I think it's, important to be able to have a bunch of people you can call and be like, hey, like, what are you doing tonight? Let's go, watch the movies. Let's go bowl. Let's go do something, be active and to still have that social network I think is equally important. And it feeds who our basic human needs. So, but I hope that, for everything I talk about, and I know this has been a couple serious videos in a row, and eventually I promise I will get lighter, but, like I said, just today having that conversation really made me want to just share that and see where you guys are in your friendships. And I've had some of you already reach out to me via email, and I appreciate it. I feel so inspired, and I thank you. Keep coming. Again, this is open, while it's my face you see on here, I want to be the voice of all of you and relate with all of you and, just be a place that I can talk about anything I know of that you have on your heart that, whatever. So this is all about all of us growing and learning together and getting through life in whatever stage we are in, because everyone's somewhere different, but all of us need somebody. And so if this video is it, and being able to reach out and say, hey, like, what are your thoughts on this to me? And we can talk about it and open that up, then let's do it. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. December is here, so weather's about to start changing. I know my people up north, it's already cold, but here, I went outside just now in this and I was like, it's kind of hot. I don't know if y'all can see out there. Don't mind my yard. It's a struggle bus right now, okay? Like I said, we just moved in a month ago. Also, side note, anybody has any idea, can tell me how to grow some grass in my backyard, because my dogs are just playing around in mud, okay, and dirt, and it gets all over my house, and it's an absolute struggle. So listen, like I said, it's an open forum. It means help me, okay? I'm still waiting for someone to let me know about the captioning thing. I'm still working on it, but yes. All right, well, again, have a great weekend, everyone, and I will see you guys soon.